right, guys. Welcome to True Threats Radio. This is your host, Charles Giuliani. Listening in on the Republic Broadcasting Network. Oh, boy, I can't do that again. I ate like a horse a few minutes ago, and it suddenly hit me. I thought I had enough time to run to the facilities and back, but, well, I guess I did have enough time, but that was cutting it awful close. Ooh, let that be a lesson to you. If you have a live radio show, don't eat too much before the show. Anyway, we got a interesting show lined up today. We got Aaron from up in Canada. He's going to be joining us today talking about the wonderful experiences that he's had with the, amongst others, with the FBI. He's going to be sharing his story with us. Aaron James, that is. I'm sorry. He's called in the past couple weeks, kind of giving us a rundown, but we're going to get the all the details of it today. Before we do that, I just want to mention this ridiculous bailout thing. It's unbelievable, guys. It's becoming very obvious what's really going on here. This is more than just Bush and Paulson raping and pillaging the public treasury and hand that money over to their buddies on Wall Street. You know, they're just a little too anxious to want to rip us off. Not anxious isn't even the word. They're desperate. And it's pretty apparent why that is. You know, over the past several days, I've seen quite a few articles about, you know, Germany being upset with why this deal hasn't gone through. And I remember asking, well, what the heck do they care? And then China, and a few other countries, and, well, now it's all starting to make sense. These people have invested a lot of money over here, and they've lost their investments. I wonder if Bush and Paulson and company have gotten threatening phone calls. Oh, not that they're going to invade this country, but that they personally are in jeopardy if this thing doesn't go through. I think threats were made on their lives. Bush looked pale as a ghost the other day on Tuesday. Oh, expressing how upset he was that the bailout plan didn't get passed. Well, of course, the Senate passed it last night. And isn't it interesting that the market jumped up on Tuesday, like 500 points? Yesterday, it wasn't too bad. And now all of a sudden today, it's 100 plus points already? Enough. The Zionist holiday is also over today. I wonder if there's a connection there. But what a scam, guys. Why?
From my childhood still are true.
Alright, guys. Welcome back to True Threats Radio. It's your host, Charles Giuliani. Before I bring my guest on, I just wanted to mention this bailout thing is just the scam of all scams, guys. But I think that's really what's going on here. They're running scared. They're afraid of some maybe some hitman coming after them or something from China or Germany. Unbelievable. And you know, the Bruce Ivins thing, I've been looking a little more closely into this. Once again, guys, how many times is this stuff going to go on? You know, they frame him up. He obviously had nothing to do with the anthrax attacks. And although they did come out of Detroit, Maryland, of course, but they needed a frame-up man because too much pressure was being put on them to come up with some answers with their investigation. So they frame this guy, and then conveniently, before they can bring him to trial, whoops! Oh, son of a gun, there goes another one. He commits suicide. And then just early last month, well, early August, you know, requests were done for documents, you know, in their investigation to show that there was actually a connection with Bruce Ivins, and the FBI, quote, selectively released documents. In other words, they chose to withhold certain key documents pertaining to the investigation that they don't want people seeing, because this whole investigation is a fraud and Bruce Ivins has nothing to do with it. Here we go again. Unbelievable. Do keep in mind that the FBI initially said in June of 2002 that they had to stop their investigation. They can only go so far because they ran into top military secrets. Why is it then, if they had to stop their investigation way back then because they ran into top military secrets, why did it suddenly become permissible now, years later, to go forward with that investigation at this military base? Were those military secrets not secret anymore? I mean, obviously they were just picking, strings out of midair, randomly selected this guy, just like the CIA is doing in their war on terror. They're just picking people randomly off the streets of Dubai or whatever, and torturing the daylights out of them, and then threatening them, you better read this confession statement or we'll torture you more, just to make their phony war on terror look legitimate. God help us. I don't know, man. It's so disgusting. But anyway, let's go to our guest here. Aaron James is joining us today. He's going to share with us his horrific story, what he's been going through, the relentless harassment, and, we'll be talking about just general government corruption, all the wonderful things that are going on around us. Welcome to the show, James. Or Mr. James, I should say.
Good morning. How are you keeping?
Hanging in there in spite of the fact that we're in the midst of a Hitlerian fascist dictatorial regime right now. It's unbelievable. This is beyond George Orwell right now.
So they passed it in the Senate, did they?
Yeah. Last night, actually, they passed it. So it's going to go up before the House today, and I think we can make a pretty educated guess where that's going to go. Hey, but don't worry, Obama is now ahead in the polls, so he's going to save us. I found a clip yesterday. I didn't realize this. I don't know when it's from, but at some point, Mr. McCain made a statement very similar to Bush's. He said, I have always aspired to be a dictator.
Imagine that. Actually, also, I don't mind a dictatorship as long as I'm the dictator.
Yeah, Bush.
The Constitution is worth less than a piece of paper that it's written on. And,
right.
So...
Unbelievable. So, here we go. Business as usual.
Well, I spoke to the CIA just yesterday. Barbara Hartwell. Is that name familiar to you?
No, not that one.
When the CIA agents were outed by the
Oh,
US
sure.
government.
Yeah. Right. What's she have to say?
Well, I was on the radio network. We the People called in, did my show, and I got a call. Michael Herzog got a call from Barbara Hartwell, and she says she has the utmost of sympathy for what we're going through, having been through it herself.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had made a call in to with people about 1 year ago, the time of her disappearance, and I had remembered speaking to her because she had called in on the line on that same occasion as well. Do you think the CIA have any notion when she calls into radio shows? I'm almost betting that they probably do. So
I'm sure.
I just want to say hello to the CIA here in case they're listening, and let them know that Aaron James is still beating you, and I'm still alive despite your 14 attempts upon my life. You sickening, disgusting, filthy bastards.
Well, I hope they're taking note too.
Well, they are. They're not very happy.
We gotta, Aaron, try to watch the language, by the way. This is a G-rated show. But they better, take a second look at, their occupation, and is it worth the risk? Because, if it's to their advantage, these people who are now working for them and think that they're gonna get taken care of, they're gonna kick them to the curb. Lee Harvey Oswald thought he was one of the inside boys. He had some very high-up friends in both the FBI and the CIA. In fact, he was, most likely working for the CIA at the time of the assassination. They had stationed him to work at the book depository there. And, look what they did to him. They set him up. So, all you thugs out there who are working for this Nazi Stasiistic system, that you think is going to protect you, and oh yeah, you get your comfy little paycheck coming in at the end of the week, but don't worry. If it's to their advantage, they're going to cast you to the curb too. You stupid fools. Nazi Germany all over again. I did it because I was following the orders, yeah.
Mm-hmm. We began with a communist under every bed under the days of McCarthy. We're back to a terrorist under every bed under the days of Bush and McCain and regime and the establishment and the regurgitation and recurrence of the Roman Empire. And the same.
You know what? For those listening that aren't familiar with your story, why don't we go to the beginning? What it was that that happened to you that brought you to this point?
Well, I had an injury. We decided that we would go to the Mayo Clinic to get this injury treated, the mecca of the medical establishment in the world, so it's deemed. And so we went to this Mayo Clinic. This is January of 2006. I'm almost 3 years prior now. And I ended up being hospitalized for a very different reason. I was left in the pool of blood in the middle of the aisle of an aircraft, as opposed to having received the treatment that I needed at the clinic, where they told me that they didn't have the expertise to follow through at the time, or that they would refer me to someone else. So what happened is we made our way onto the aircraft to go, and we arrived in the United States, in Rochester, Minneapolis, without problem. And we noticed our baggage didn't come off the carousel. And so we asked them where our baggage was, and they said that it's probably been misplaced. We'll deliver it to you when we find it to your hotel. So they delivered the baggage to us, and it arrived at our hotel with a note stating that this baggage has been searched, locks cut, and seized due to security concerns. Not exactly the description they'd given us about having simply misplaced our baggage. So we asked them if they might explain that, and they failed to provide any reason whatsoever. And so 3 days at the time at the desk, I'd asked them, I'd said, well, this looks like we've been profiled. I'd like a complaint form. And I mentioned profiling. I said I wanted a complaint form. And I mentioned profiling. He looked at me, took the complaint form out of my hand, ripped it out of my hand, and said, well, you won't be needing this then, will you? You're going to sue. There had been 3 of them at the desk at the time. We looked back as we made our way out of the area, up the escalator, and there were now 7 at the desk, darting us back hostile glances and gestures. We didn't think of anything of it at the time, but we didn't realize that Northwest Airlines was an FBI affiliate and a NASA affiliate. NPRs to the tune of 1 million. That's basically passenger profiling information that people like you and I give them. We enter ourselves into databases unwittingly when we go online and register for airline tickets. From there, the CAP system was born, the computer-assisted profiling system. And that basically targets the common American citizen, not the terrorist, but the common American citizen, based on a probability of how their statistical information matches up against someone who might commit an act of terrorism. That can go into your banking information, into your habits, into your associates, your associates. Very elaborate system. It's out of Israel, under Ron Rafai, who's the head of the Israeli Tel Aviv airport, and I think he does New Age security. And he. Well,
I'll tell you what your problem is. You're not a lobbyist working for IPAC.
Well, that's
you see,
the issue.
Or a Mossad agent.
Right, so they have...
You could be committing international espionage and get away with it in that case. See,
yeah,
so that's your fault. You see, you need to change your last name to Goldstein or something.
Membership has its privileges. I understand. I wasn't a member, so what was I thinking? Now, here's the thing. The FBI was given 6,000 CDs worth of this information. It's all illegal. Okay, it's all prohibited. The airline has been exposed, given to NASA.
The words that I remember.
All right, guys, welcome back to Truth Hurts Radio. It's your host Charles Giuliani, listening in on the Republic Broadcasting Network, republicbroadcasting.org. This is the Truth Hurts Radio show. Tell you what, Aaron, hold that thought where you were. We'll get back to it in a minute, but we actually have a caller coming in. We get Bobber up in Maine. Welcome to the show, Barbara.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Can you hear me, Charlie?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, I had a problem on my line here. I just wanted to make a brief comment. What Aaron just mentioned, my name on the air.
Barbara
Hartwell.
Barbara.
Yes, hello. It's really important that I state that I am ex-CIA, ex. I wasn't sure if you knew that, Aaron.
Oh, okay. I should have made that clear. I assumed that would be the case, but you're right.
No, not your fault. Not your fault. Yeah, I was out of there since...
I didn't even make that connection. I didn't realize that you were that Barbara. Oh,
okay.
Wow.
Yes, that's me. Yeah, I've been out of there since 1994. And what Aaron mentioned about the targeting and the profiling, that's why I can sympathize and empathize with him so deeply, because everything that he's talked about has either happened to me in the past or happened to somebody that I know and love. And,
what was a nice person like you doing in a nasty place like that?
Well, you know what, Charlie? There are a lot of good people that get in there, and guess what?
Yeah.
All the good ones get out.
Eventually, yep, they
They
figure
get
it out.
out.
Sure.
Some are in jail, some die, and through the grace of God only, I was able to get out.
Well, thank God for that.
Yes. That's all I wanted to say. I don't want to take up Aaron's time because he has important
Let's hope those
information
nice men,
to
Bush
share.
and Cheney and whatnot, get out and don't suffer the consequences of those plots against them because of the bailout. I wish them all the best. All right.
This is what's so crazy. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Barbara, for the call. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Barbara.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. This is what's so crazy is, as much as we're frustrated with them and as evil as they are, what they're doing to us, they're just innocent. No, not innocent, but I mean, they're just, what's the word I want? Blind dupes themselves to a large degree. Just like a lot of the CIA thugs that are selling their country out and don't care because they think they're going to be protected and they're making big money doing it. They don't have a conscience. It's the same with Bush. He's not calling the shots here, folks. He's just the errand boy. And they'll turn on him just as quick as they will any low-level government agent that does their bidding for them as well. Mm-hmm. And so in that sense, yeah, you can almost feel sorry for him. It's pathetic. The look on Bush's face the other morning, Tuesday morning, when he gave that address, like pleading, I'm very disappointed that this didn't go through. And I mean, he just looked so pale as a ghost. And, it's like it's disgusting. It's sad. Stop being sycophants, kiss-ups, selling out your own self, because that's what these fools are doing. They're selling their own selves out, never mind their own country and their fellow man. And anyway, go ahead, Aaron.
Well, this false war on terror, the extension of the Security Commissions Act, the FISA bill this year in 2008 under Bush, and the bill that was passed through Congress, H.R. 1955, the Anti-Radicalism, Anti-Homegrown Terrorism Prevention Act, or Anti-Radicalism, Homegrown Terrorism Prevention Act, targets the common American citizen, not the extra, or not the foreign national, not the terrorist, not the political dissident, so to speak, but just the individual who is not in the same contention of the U.S. and the U.S. military-industrial complex. Of course, they call them political dissidents as they're breaking into their homes, smacking them down, breaking their limbs and whatnot, et cetera, but it's really basically anybody who's against tyranny.
You got to put that label on there.
Is targeted, and we've seen this. We saw neighbor turning neighbor in under McCarthy's communist under every bed, and now it's just the same thing. People need to see that the parody is striking the terrorist under every bed, and now you're a terrorist. And the biggest mark against someone is to label them a terrorist in the United States of America today, just as it was to label them a communist in the red not too long ago.
Label others for what they themselves are doing. Yep.
That's right. They're dogmatic. It's amazing that people don't see it so clearly. The regurgitation of the same mechanisms being used over and over again. They have a book. It's their book. They're using it and they're throwing it at the American public and taking away our rights, our civil liberties, and our dignities along the way. It's absolutely disgusting, and they become very good at it. It's just the irony.
Orwellian mantras, yeah.
the Orwellian world. That's right. They've all read the book. They've read the Eastern book on the the East has a very good book. You were saying?
Oh, I was just going to say Hitler was right. You know, it doesn't matter how big the lie is; the bigger, the better.
Well,
you repeat it long enough, often enough, everyone's going to believe it because it's so big. They can't believe that a lie would catch on or that politicians would be so bold as to tell such a big lie. So they have more potential to believe the big lie than the little ones.
Yeah, funny. That's what Cheney said. If the lie is big enough, people will believe it. That's interesting. The Art of War under Sun Tzu in China is another book that the CIA and the FBI have become very familiar with. The Tao of Deception being a key instrument of their deceptions and lies, and the Hegelian dialectics, say one thing, mean the other. These are all common.
I like what Bush said. You can fool some of the people some of the time, and those are the ones we need to concentrate on. I'll tell you what, another break. Stick with us.
Lose the love I knew, but safely leave it through. The words that I remember from my childhood still are true.
All right, guys. Welcome back to Truth Hurts Radio. By the way, I forgot to mention, I hate to let a show go by without mentioning this, but my good buddy Mike Anthony, the magic herbalist, and let me tell you, his herbs are magical. They do wonders, folks. As you all know, my shoulder is now completely healed. I'm back to doing everything I was able to do before. Today, in fact, for the first time, I was back on my bike. Went out, got a nice bike ride in this morning. Something that, to be honest, I didn't think I'd ever be able to do again. I mean, when I broke this shoulder, I thought, oh man, I just didn't think my arm would ever be right again. But here I am. I'm, doing everything I used to do before. It's incredible. Full strength back. It's like I never broke it. So if you want to get in on his wonder-working herbs, give him a call, 845-231-1094. Again, that's 845-231-1094. If he's not in, just leave a message. He'll get back to you within a day. I tell you what, Aaron, we're back with our guest today.
Hi, Charles.
Aaron James. But you know what? We have another caller, so why don't we go to him quick first, and then we can pick up where you were.
Okay.
You're talking about the CDs there. Let's go to Dave in Mass. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Oh, hi, Charles. I look forward to your show every week, Charles.
Thanks,
hi, Aaron James.
How are you keeping?
Hey, Charles, I am so intrigued, and I've been so baffled about this for so long, and maybe you can once and for all clarify it for me. What in the heck is the big lie that Hitler told?
Well, he told a whole bunch of them, but his simple point was, and it wasn't even his, he was plagiarizing, and, Goebbels came along and reiterated it, but the point was simply that the bigger the lie, the more likely people are going to believe it. And if you tell that big lie, whatever it is that you're trying to sell, if you tell it long enough and often enough, people are going to believe it. And so that's what they do. 9/11 was done by fanatic Muslims. So you tell it long enough on the media and often enough. You keep repeating it over and over and over. It's like programming.
Yeah.
It's like hypnotism, and the public will buy it.
Okay, but I understand that, Charles, but can you just give me one example of a big Nazi or a big Hitlerian lie? Just one example.
All Jews being, spawns of evil and deception, etc., and whatnot. People are going to splice that from me. I know that. I can just feel it coming up now.
The Reichstag was one. We got attacked by the communists. That was his rival party. He was able to murder 400 of the top leaders of the Communist Party that night. That we need to take away your rights to make you safe. So he did that through the Enabling Act, and on and on and on.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really buy that, Charles. I think even the Reichstag, they say that the retarded guy really was affiliated with the Communist Party, and I don't think Hitler ever said he was going to take the German people's rights away or anything.
You know that Hitler was affiliated with the Communist Party at one time before going in? Were you aware of that? He was in talks with them? Hitler was affiliated with the Russians. Hitler was affiliated with the Soviet Union. He was in talks with them before he...
Trouble hearing this, Mr. James, but Aaron James, but...
He said that Hitler was affiliated with the Communist Party, which is true. You're not trying to imply that Hitler was Mr. Innocent. I mean, he was a dictator.
No, you throw something like that out, Mr. James. Now, back it up. Be specific. What do you mean Hitler was when and where, and what do you mean he was a communist? What are you talking about? Be
before
specific.
Hitler began his invasion, he was in talks with military and governmental officiates who are representatives of the Soviet Socialist Republic. And
so was the United States, for that matter.
Exactly. The hypocrisy is absolutely risible. If you go take a look at the history books, you'll see it yourself. They began asking Hitler about his connections.
Who's saying now? Name some names.
Well, Dave, this is kind of getting us off the track, though. I mean, it's not really what we're talking about.
It's a lot of baloney, James. It's a lot of baloney, Charles. Everything that's going on nowadays is the exact opposite of the Nazis. Give it a little more thought.
Well, I was reading several articles about it just the other week, so I can pull them up for you. But in any case, it's there. You can look for it online yourself. You can see it for yourself. The fostering of the world wars was definitely it's definitely on record that Hitler's affiliations with the Soviet Union dissolved, and at that point, the invasions began, and all what broke loose.
I don't think Dave's aware that Hitler received most of his funding from Zionist bankers. The Warburgs ran the Reichsbank. So what we have today is exactly the same as what Hitler had. In fact, Bush's grandfather, Prescott, was one of Hitler's chief financiers. This family, the Bush family, has been very fond of fascism all throughout the decades.
Absolutely. Yeah. Prescott and General Draper actually being a prodigy of the eugenics project, which is basically the brainchild of fascism and Nazism.
Now, I think I know where Dave's coming from. They lied a lot about what went on, like the Holocaust and so forth. They've played that to the hilt, exploited that, as a cover for their own little Holocaust they got going on against the Palestinians, for example. But that doesn't mean that Hitler was an innocent little Sunday school choir boy either. I mean, he was a piece of dirt. He was a tyrant wannabe. Not just a wannabe, he was a tyrant, but I mean, he wanted to be a global tyrant. It didn't quite work out so well for him. That's not what the bankers had in mind. That's what I think he thought the bankers had in mind for him, that he was going to be their little servant, And if things had worked out differently, maybe, I don't know, maybe that would have been the case. But I think he was more or less an experiment. And they just wanted to get their equivalent of the League of Nations set up here on American soil, which is just what happened after World War II, of course, the UN. But anyway, that's getting off the track. Let's get back to...
Speaking of experiments, that's the ideology of profiling, racism, bigotry. It's an experiment. That's the point. There's an agenda beyond racism itself. Let's select a target group of people. We can call them Jews in their day. We can call them blacks or Muslims. And now it's whatever the group. Just make sure that we put enough media propaganda in there so that the general public is appeased to our persecution and enslavement, wherever mind you it might be at the time for whatever particular group, whatever impositions you put upon them, so that we can get very good at doing what we do without the public scrutiny or the rebuke that might otherwise be an impediment upon our progress and our experiment. And then let's apply those things to the mass public. That's what's happened here. So, go take a look at Phoenix, Arizona airport. I keep mentioning this, but that's the nephew of the Ombudsman of New York. She was murdered at Phoenix, Arizona just last year, and I believe it was October, a 45-year-old woman who ostensibly choked to death on her handcuffs in the airport security room, which is, of course, impossible, but that's a very good story. You have Robert...
Was that deemed a suicide, too?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
like Gary Webb shooting himself twice in the head.
Well, shame on him.
And let's not forget our anthrax suspect there, Bruce, what's his name? He must have Must have killed himself just before they had time to bring him to trial. Unbelievable. It's just so Orwellian. It's just beyond.
The next case I bring to the fore is the case of Robert Dzansky from Poland coming to Canada. Of course, the North American Union is there, so the fascists are up north side of the north border as well, just as well as they are on the south of the border. Canada, Vancouver. I think that was just before the end of the last year, and Robert Dzansky comes to Canada from Poland, expecting that Canada, the land of prosperity and the melting pot, etc., will be open and accepting to them, and etc., etc. He doesn't speak the language though, and so unfortunately he meets his death because they tase him to death after he's in the waiting room for 10 hours, and they tell him that his mother isn't there to greet him or to meet with him, despite the fact that she's been there waiting for him. They gave him some disinformation there and hold him in the holding area, and there was no effort to resuscitate him as well. Of course, he wasn't resisting. He put his hands up in the air when they came up into the area because he had been objecting, and he was flustered over having been waiting in the area, and so the penalty is death for causing what they deemed a disturbance, even though people in the area had managed to calm him down and had reassured him that the help was on the way. So help was on the way, and he won't be needing any more help because he's no longer breathing. I just want to give up my website for one moment here, AaronJamesStory.com, which is AaronJamesStory.com. Military industrial complex, police state tyranny, and false war and terror gone mad, targeting not the terrorist, not the Muslim, or not the foreign national or dissident, but the common American, and in my case, Canadian citizen, just like you and I. The dragging, whipping its tail, and beating down on the very people that it's supposedly there ostensibly to protect. We're in a state of Nazi fascist terrorism, and the targets are the American people, and the perpetrator is the government. That's the irony there. It's a complete role reversal, the complete paradox and the antithesis of what the media, the puppet and the instrument of deception, propaganda, in working in conjunction with government would have you believe. And if you want confirmation of that, just go to Fox News and Hannity O'Reilly or Rush Limbaugh, and you can read all about how the economy is not in crisis and that the McCains will pull you out, or that
everything's fine. Just go back to sleep.
Of course, you can also go to McCainsings.com or RealMcCain.com. You can watch John McCain singing about bombing Iran, and John McCain talking about how it's safe to walk in Iraq, and you can walk without any body armor, and General Petraeus goes out in an unarmored Humvee
breathe that day. Fresh, clean, depleted uranium air, too.
Absolutely, and let's not forget the depleted uranium emissions so that we can cause cancer. And
the water's real clean in Baghdad, too. Drink it down.
Exactly. So, and of course, we're there to put up democratic societies and free the enslavement of the societies abroad who haven't realized that we're light years ahead of them in the area of democracy and civil rights and humanitarian dignities. That's why we go into El Salvador, back the dictator, and go up and set up a dictatorship over in Chile, where we kill Allende, the first democratic leader of their time, and put up a Pinochet, a dictator, in his place. That's right. That's why we're in Afghanistan. I forgot. We're there to. Oh no, it's the oil. We're there because of the oil, because the Taliban and the United States had their talks not go as well as they wanted to, and now the United States is reaping the benefits off of carnage, death, and destruction for the oil and the poppy seed production.
Yeah, that's what Brzezinski said
as well. Oil,
Brzezinski
drugs,
laid it out.
Oil,
Brzezinski
drugs.
laid it out in 1997. He laid it out in very clear language. He didn't mince his words. We need to go into Eurasia in the coming years to get its oil reserves in the Caspian Sea. We need to get the pipeline across that region. We need to exploit the mineral resources in the mountain ranges. And he said all we need to do that is have a massive, widely perceived direct external threat. And that's what we got on 9/11.
And look at that. Who's McCain upset with down south? He's upset with Hugo Chavez, Venezuela. Mm-hmm. They're controlling all of the oil. We have to go in. We have to get them. We have to. And there's Al Qaeda
because he's
in Venezuela.
Supporting Al Qaeda. Yeah,
there's Al Qaeda in Venezuela. You see, go take a look at the movie. It's realmccain.com. Apparently there's Al-Qaeda in Iran, too. And then he had to be corrected by the people that were speaking along his side. He has two people along his side that every time he makes a stupid statement and mucks up, they can correct him. So they corrected him, and I'm sorry, they're training Iranian extremists in Iran, not Al-Qaeda. So, Bush and McCain, they're in very good the same league. I mean, Bush was singing about Cheney's corruption and the corruption of Mr. What's his name, Scooter Libby, and the corruptions over in the East and the oil profiteering at one of his informal receptions, which happened to be caught on MSNBC. Bush, McCainsings.com and realmccain.com have McCain singing about bombing Iran. It's very good. Bomb, 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 bomb Iran. You know that old Beach Boys song? Brave New Films put out a movie about that. You can go and Google that and see it for yourself.
Oh, a big joke to them.
Yeah, the problem is, if you go back in your history, you realize on May 21st of 2007, Bush said one thing was very poignant. In a state of national emergency, the government, that's myself, can declare, under the Security Commissions Act that I put and I instilled in 2006, which has been escalated and has been put on steroids as effective this year, 2008, under the FISA bill extension, I can declare myself I can give myself dictatorial power, and to be used arbitrarily at my discretion, and at a point where I declare that we're in a state of national emergency. Well, what do you think bombing Iran would be? Is putting us in a state of war, a national emergency?
But that's fun, and it's all for profit for the boys on Wall Street that support our sellout politicians. Come on now. Where's your heart?
You're right. You're right.
Be compassionate for them.
We don't want to deprive Bush of his ability to make good on those. I mean, all that legislation for nothing, that would be a horrible waste. So when you take a look at that, and look, the head of Afghanistan, Khalid Karzai, who is he? He's the head of Unocal. That's a very large oil company in Afghanistan, one of the largest, actually, and he was a senior executive advisor for the financial institute, for the financial sector, Unocal, and he's also a CIA asset. And and Ossetia, the prime minister, the head of the Ossetia Georgian ordeal being a parody to the Palestinian-Israeli ordeal. We take a look at Ossetia being the parody to Palestine. We see that the head of Georgia is actually an Israeli affiliate, and that look, Cheney's oil pipeline runs through Georgia as well, just as it does through Iraq. And who are the two countries that didn't sign on with the IMF? The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, so that the IMF could rewards and dividends to get the
sink them into debt
regarding the oil and the profiteering, and sell it up to a premium to rape the American citizens at the gas pump.
Could they make it more obvious what it is that they're up to? I mean,
no, they can't. They can't really, because the IMF wanted Iraq and Iran to sign. Iraq and Iran didn't sign, and so wherein the United States sold arms and munitions to Iraq, to Hussein, and you can see nice photos of Bush hugging Saddam Hussein online and whatnot. Now the media forgets those things, and now it's Hussein the dictator, that horrible individual who gassed his. Yes, fine, he was a scoundrel and an excuse for humanity, but Bush was in league with him up to the hilt, and only when profits and economic gains were squashed or diplomacy faded or was erased, that we see now that now McCain now Bush deems Hussein the enemy. Now we have to go after him because of humanitarian issues and the atrocities that he's committing against the people, and let's have a show trial and make it all look very good.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous. Okay, guys, another short break. Stick with us. We'll be right back. I got some clips I want to play. Very interesting stuff. Be right back.
That there's none so blind as those who will not see.
All right, guys, we're back. I had to switch over to the phone. I think I'm going to stay on the phone the rest of the show. At least the little children that do their little tamperings have the decency enough to wait for during the break to play their games. But my computer hasn't done this in a while, but it just shut off. Unbelievable. By the way,
I'm getting a lot of viruses on mine lately for some
yeah,
reason.
I've got something going on here. Is it Control 8 that puts you in safe mode? Because I can't reboot it right now. Is it Alt? Alt F8, I think it is. This is unbelievable.
Can I help fill in some time gap here? Have some jaw-dropping commentary if you'd like. I can fill in some.
Yeah, sure.
Right, they're trying to kill us right now, and McCain is involved indirectly through his association with FBI agent Stephen Davis. That wasn't actually a misstatement either. That was a statement of fact. We've been receiving. Are you there? Are we online?
Yeah, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Receiving threats, FBI cyber threats on my website. One agent, Stephen Davis, who had a front website, a website by the way of, I think, Building Cities of Commerce, and they put my name up on FBI.gov now. So AaronJamesStory.com, my name is now up on FBI.gov, and the Winnipeg Police have my websites all listed within their police notes. See, we knew that because after the Winnipeg Police tried to kill me and abduct me on October 27th of 2007 last year, and they've tried 13 times since. It's now 14. And these all matters of fact, and we have an attorney, by the way, of Adam Mashowski of Pink's Law, who we're dealing with and trying to, $10,000 worth of legal fees later. I'm still alive, and they haven't managed to succeed. But one of the things that FBI agent Stephen Davis did, in addition to putting my name up on FBI.gov and a false slanderous character assassination ploy, is that he also threatened. Oh, and by the way, I have a very close and good relationship with our current presidential electorate nominee, John McCain. Have a nice day. And I just got recently an email from him that said, now you're on the radar, etc. That was very nice. And just thought I'd let everyone know that not only in addition to saying about bombing Iran, McCain is also targeting common American Canadian citizens like you and I who happen to speak out against the tyranny and the fascistic environment of insanity that's basically putting all our people into mass subjugation. So that's just one other reason why we should all vote for John McCain as president this year if we want another Germany. But I have no political motivation being a Canadian citizen. So when I make these statements, people can be rest assured that I have no political agenda here that's beyond, I suppose, self-preservation. When I make that statement, we are under attack. I'm actually calling the station from behind a barricaded door at this point in time. And that gets me to my next point. My mother is suffering. Our family is suffering. They have terrorized family, friends, and associates. And getting back to our ordeal, after I was attacked on the aircraft, this FBI affiliate aircraft, we were put through 6 months of FBI, CIA, NSA persecution. And I make that comment because later on we went through a trial where on that jury pool, in the scanned-in documents and the scribe of our own attorney, which are viewable on my website, there were members and or affiliates within the capacity of a jury pool of FBI, CIA, NSA, military, and conveniently, look at that, Northwest Airlines employees, the very airline on which we were attacked, and presiding as judge, criminally charged ex-U.S. Marine Judge David S. Doty, whose criminal charges can be seen at CLR.org.
Incredible stuff. I tell you what, Aaron, we got to jump to another break, but hold that thought. We'll pick up when we get back.